Welcome back to Living in NC, the go-to channel for discovering new construction homes right here in North Carolina. I'm Adriano with the Living in NC channel, and today we're diving deeper into a home that's been catching attention. The Dallas floor plan by Meritage Homes right here in Walnut Reserve. And in this video, I'm sitting down with Rashaud McCray from Meritage Homes to answer the questions real buyers want to know. Pricing, energy features, customization, and what makes this community different from the rest. Grab a cup of coffee or a notepad and let's talk about what it really takes to buy new construction in today's market. All right, everybody, welcome back. And as promised, I got Rashaud McCray. He's from Meritage Homes, and we're going to be talking. We're going to have a conversation, just kind of asking questions because I got a nice nifty sheet of questions, that people have asked, and then we're just going to kind of relay that. And him being at Meritage, he's got the ins and outs of the development and what they have to offer. Not to mention, like we said, you stay to the end of the video, then we'll go over what's the price and what's, all the goodies, but we're going to say that to the end of the video because we don't want to just kind of give it away because we want to ask some questions and let them answer. So Rashaud, I'm going to kick it off to you, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and, how long you've been there. And, I'm going to kick it off to you and you can go ahead and take it away.
Adriano, man, I appreciate it, man. And thanks for having me on. Again, everyone, my name is Rashaud McCray. I am with Meritage Homes, and I've been with Meritage for about a year and a half now. Prior to that, I was in general real estate back in 2019. So I've seen the whole, the opposite side of what I do as far as being a listing agent versus being a buyer's agent all the time. And so it's been an amazing transition, dude. And yeah, man, just happy to be on here and answer some questions and let everybody know a little bit more about Meritage Homes.
I love it, man. So let me ask you real quick, Rashaud, you did real estate, you listed properties, you did the residential. So what attracted you to start getting into the new construction and Meritage? What was the track? What got you over? What got you over to the dark side, as we like to call it?
Hey, man. So it's funny, interesting story. When I was in real estate school, I already knew that I wanted to be in new construction. I had a buddy that got in really early on, and he had also tried general, and I always kind of go based off of a wise man learns from the mistakes of others, right? And so I kind of seen just what it looked like in general. I got a sneak peek and what it looked like while I was getting ready to go to school and while I was in real estate school. I always wanted to be in new home construction, but it's one of those industries, man, that's a little bit tougher to get into. And so God just kind of allowed me to kind of stick around in general brokers. But I'm very grateful for the opportunity because I know and understand both sides of the stick, real lifetime and what buyers experience, what sellers experience, and how me as an agent is able to, help and solve those problems.
I love it, man. So you live out in Concord and you're driving to Hickory because we're talking about, Walnut Reserve. Is that
Walnut Reserve? That's right.
Yeah, Walnut Reserve over in Hickory. And then you're coming over. I mean, that's some dedication, man. And did you start in Charlotte in that area, Concord, and then you just kind of had an opportunity to come on over to Hickory?
I did not. So, with Meritage, the cool thing about the way that we work is I'm able to sell in any community, right? And so I do have where I'm championed in that Walnut Reserve community, the Concord, Newton, Hickory area. That is where my base is. I've been putting a lot of dedication and work into just building up, our brand and whatnot. We are, there's a few builders that are already in the area. So when we came along, it's kind of, a transition, right, to kind of help reestablish the brand reputation, things that we've already established in other markets. When you come to a new market, you're tasked with a little bit of a job, right? Because you got to get there. And so but yeah, man, just kind of just thugging it out, man, right now, dude.
I love it, man.
Over hour and 15 minutes is the commute time. So it's all good, man.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Well, it's not like LA, man. I tell everybody, coming from LA, it's really not that bad. I'll take that drive over anything in LA has to offer, man. So let's get down to the mostly what our people are looking at and kind of the problem questions that they come up with, their concerns, right? So here's kind of a question. Like I said, I got a list of them here, but we're not probably gonna go through all of them, but we're gonna get to the good ones. So in your experience, what are the biggest frustrations that you hear from the first time home buyers and maybe the people looking to downsize in their home search? Being in the listing side now in new construction, what do you usually get? What have you been hearing out in the field?
That's actually a really good question, Adriano. So, in my personal experience, and I kind of I feel this just amongst the market, but we got a readjustment that's going on, right? So, I think I've always revert right back to the COVID time because it was an interesting time in real estate, and a lot of people like paid attention because we didn't have anything else to do, right? We had to
Yeah,
stay in the house.
global market,
so,
the most
so everybody
abnormal ever seen.
it's an anomaly, right? And so we're coming off
Right.
of that. And I mean, back then you could get, a $320,000 house, and you be getting 3,000 square feet, right?
Yes.
Right now you spend
Yes.
321,000. You're in a townhome that's 1,400 square feet. So I think the mindset of buyers is where I see the most frustration. It's like, man, I'm spending $330,000 or $400,000, and this is what I'm getting. And then wrapping your head
Mhm.
around, well, your payment's going to
Mhm.
be the same as somebody that bought, you know what I mean, with the higher interest rate. So you're spending. I mean, when somebody comes in and talk about a $2,000 monthly payment, it's almost like I can try. Like there are some creative ways to get there. Let's see what are you bringing down. Like a lot of factors go into it because in new construction, it's kind of hard to get in that. Especially if you're looking at market rates, dude, it's hard to get that $2,000 mark in it. I think it's tough for buyers to wrap their head around, but I think it's time to start making that shift.
Dude, you hit it. That's what we've been experiencing. And, and we'll table that at the end because like I said, we promised everybody that we're going to see the good stuff to the end.
Yeah.
But like you're talking about, you hit it, is that market, with the rates, how they were, people, it was a frenzy. It was the most abnormal market ever seen. And then now, we got a lot of clients that got the golden cups. They can't do anything. They won't sell. You don't even want to buy because they don't want to lose that rate that they got and then refinance at 3%, 2.5. So that being said, and like I say, we'll table that at the end because what you guys got to offer is to bring people out and they're not seeing it. First time buyers like, I don't want to pay that 6%. They're locked in on payment and this and that. And what is nice is what you guys have to offer for that
Mhm.
buyer that asked us those questions. And that's what we're so drawn to like new construction, because when we get those questions and we get that from like people that you've serviced and we've serviced, we have somewhat of an answer for them, right?
We do.
And like I said, I cannot wait to the end that you go over what you guys offer because this is a big problem and you guys have that solution to that common question that we get. And you hit it on the head, man. COVID was like everybody was so used to that and they thought
Man.
that would never go away. And now
Mhm.
here we are today when rates are the volatility and the rates and no one really knows what's going on. And with political climate, they don't know what's going to happen here.
That
So
too.
the consumer, and the viewers out there, that's their big thing. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know where I'm gonna go. I don't know where I'm gonna go. And then now seeing what you guys have to offer and your competitors, it's like I said, it's competitive. But if you're a first time home buyer, you got to stick around to the end because when he's gonna go over, it's gonna blow your mind. So I love it, man. Here's gonna be another question. How has Meritage Homes tried to solve these challenges with the Denver floor plan? Or I'm sorry, not Denver, the
The Dallas.
Dallas floor plan. I
Yeah,
get them
yeah, yeah.
confused because
I think we address the problem essentially is affordability, right? And so to
bingo.
address affordability, you have to make it more affordable. The only alternative is to just start decreasing prices, and that's the last market you want to be in, where you see decrease after decrease after decrease, because now
Correct.
you're looking at a home as no longer an asset, right? It's like a depreciating asset, and that's the last place anybody wants to be in. So where do you solve it at is making sure that people are getting lower interest rates, lower monthly payments. And what we've done, and again, are the thoughts and views of mine, not Meritage Homes as a company. I don't hold any major seat in the company, but at the same time, like
Sure.
I'm on the ground and I'm selling to buyers
You
real
see it.
time. I see what
Yeah,
people
you
are
see it
coming in and
real
talking
time.
about, right?
What makes that Dallas a standout option for people transitioning into a simpler lifestyle?
Man, the Dallas is one of my most amazing floor plans because if you look at statistics, right, the most common floor plan in America is a 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath. That suits
Yes.
so many families, right? So the
Yes.
Dallas offers
Yes.
that. And not only does it offer like an extra kick out dining space downstairs that is extremely spacious, you got an oversized island, all appliances are included in the home. It offers an opportunity to be able to entertain downstairs still
Mm-hmm.
and still have, a 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath home. As you get upstairs, you'll notice that you also still have a loft area, so somewhere where you can place furniture and have a secondary,
Oh,
living
yeah.
area,
Right when you
if you
go up,
will.
That's right. When you go up the landing and you got like that little loft spot,
Right. Yep.
I was in there today looking around. I mean, it's just amazing how you can have either a second living space. You can either have a little office, and it's nice because a lot of other floor plans don't offer that. And another thing
Correct.
I liked about uh, the Dallas floor on this floor plan, you have the kitchen area, but it's that open concept, and then you have that little nook. You got that little
Yeah.
nook that looks outside, and you can go like
And
the sliding door. It'll go out. You can have a little barbecue, so it's pretty conducive to that.
when you got the extra windows in there that provides, a lot of
The
natural
windows, it keeps a
sunlight
lot of
there.
light, man.
It
It
does.
gets a lot of light. I mean, I didn't have to really turn on like all the lights because you get a lot of
Hmm.
natural lighting in that floor plan,
Yeah.
And granted, this one was facing the windows in that, to the kitchen, and the sliding door was facing to the east. So obviously when the sun goes down, they're gonna have that nice,
That's
beautiful
right.
sunset in this particular one. So um yeah, dude, I definitely like the upstairs. And you also gave some goodies away. But you know what? We'll give them this. We'll give the viewers this.
What we gonna give them?
You
What we
meant
gonna
you
give?
meant you
I'll be
mentioned
ready. I'll be ready.
yeah, you mentioned appliances. And appliances, you know, not a lot of the new construction builders
They
out there
just
give out, offer that part of the deal. Not just the refrigerator, not just the stovetop and
in
the
microwave.
dishwasher
Mm,
and
yeah,
the
and
microwave.
dishwasher.
Those are
Yep.
all standard, but you guys are also giving a washer dryer. Haven't seen it from a builder, but you can also washer dryers.
Yep.
So that's exciting, man. I mean, that's for a new family. If it's a brand new family or someone downsizing, you don't have to worry about it. You can just leave. If you're selling a home, you're downsizing, and leave that stuff over there and negotiate it on the sale, and you get some brand new stuff in these
You
new
get brand new,
homes.
brand new things
So,
with
I
warranties.
mean, we'll give them that. That was something what we wanted to save, but you know what? We'll give them a little snippet of that.
Okay, I
So
got something to add to that. So we'll save it. I'll give them the whole shebang at the end.
yeah, there you go. Um, you know, for the simpler life, also, I noticed that you guys in the garage, you guys are, are they all? Is it Dallas plan? Are they set up for 220? So people can there has like a little port there, and people can hook up, eventually install their own 220
For
amp
That's
for
right.
like their Teslas or whatever. So that
For
was kind of something really neat.
we focus on that. So most of our garages, all of our garages for that matter, you'll see we do have the hookup for an electric vehicle because we're energy efficient builder, right? And so we're thinking about those things that that play into the energy efficiency. Just clean air, USB outlets in your kitchen island, right? USB outlets and I'm not just talking USB, but also USB-C, right? I mean, we've
Yeah.
changed. So just really
Yeah.
being able to think about what a buyer that shops for a Meritage home is truly thinking about it and what they're looking for and being able to establish our brand that way.
Yeah, for sure. And then also your garages are finished. Imagine
They
that.
are.
The
They
garages
are.
are also finished. They're
Yep.
not just like drywall, like they're finished. So that was a big plus. There's some people they're looking at, they want it all done. They don't want to have to go back in there and try to like put something up and try to finish the drywall. That was
Yep.
something neat that you guys finished that too. So I mean, the house is pretty it's complete. So I mean, I loved it, man. I loved it. And I think it does solve a lot of the problems for some people. Transition that in the last. So here's our last question. Like this one question here, this is a pretty important one for someone who's never bought new construction before, and we know there's a ton of those people
Yep.
out there. And then your experience, what are the fears or misconceptions that you can clear up for anybody out there on the fence that want to do it but they're not sure?
I got the
So
perfect one. I got the perfect
yeah,
one. I
shoot.
think to me, the number one misconception about new construction is HOAs.
Yep,
When people don't
yep.
want to look at new construction, if you tied it to most times it's because I don't want to live in the HOA community. And I don't know if there's movies, I don't know what's out there that scares people away from HOAs, but I had never
It's
taken that approach to it. Maybe you can kind of help
sure.
shed some light on it as far as
Well, yeah. No, so Rashad, the one thing that we noticed that some people that don't like HOS because they don't like being told what to do. That's our big
that's
one.
right.
Number one
That's it.
is the fees. Why are we paying all this? And what do you guys have to offer? And then I don't want someone telling me how to paint. So most likely people stay away from HOAs
Hmm.
because some HOAs, if they're too like strict and
Yep.
they're like out there and they're flagging you for everything, people tend to stay away from that. So some folks hate that. Some folks just hate paying an extra fee on top of it. And obviously the amenities is a thing, right? So amenities is what do I get for what I'm paying? And if it's too high and I'm not getting much, then they kind of stay away from that. Versus if it's a good standard, if it's a quarterly or a yearly, and it kind of um it suits what's expected, and it's not bad. But most of the time, it's people being told what to do in certain HOAs. That's the number one that they can't deal with it. And then at the flip side, there's some people that do like it because if everybody keeps everything in line and everybody keeps everything upkept, it affects their value. So when they do decide to sell, they get a top dollar for their home. So it's got one of those arguments that it's pros and cons.
I think you're exactly right, Adriano. So I think a part of that, of course, right, is not one of the rules and regulations that come along with HOA, and I get it, right. What I tend to see more is as a benefit as it relates to HOA, because I mean one of their main jobs is to make sure that the asset that you're purchasing maintains value, right? And so they
Yes.
will have certain restrictions as far as how many people can park throughout the show. I mean, not, if you got an event or something, go ahead and park in the street. Nobody's bothering about that. But if you got a consistent
Right.
row of 15 cars, as soon as you turn into the neighborhood and they're all parked in the street, and it's kind of hard to turn into the neighborhood, doesn't really show well for, potential, other potential buyers that want to buy into the neighborhood and feel really good about it. So again, I kind of fight that misconception and say, look, kind of just reverse that thought process. You're spending hundreds and thousands of dollars, right? You want somebody
Yeah.
that can kind of come in here and regulate a little bit. That way, your asset continues to appreciate the way that you need it to.
Right, right, right. So, and for everybody out there that's been watching, comment below. Comment below if you like HOAs, you don't like HOAs. What are your thoughts? What are your experiences or even nightmares? Because this might resonate to some of you, and we
Hmm.
love to know what you guys are thinking. Because everybody has their opinion
Yeah.
on HOAs, and we love the feedback. And just like I said, put in the comments, let us know, and then we'll get to kind of more about Meritage. So, give us, a quick intro, of Meritage Homes. Quick intro. I know you talked about working them, but it's about Meritage Homes and what sets you guys apart from your competitors
Hmm.
than everybody else around town.
Meritage Homes, man, we've been around for 40 plus years.
Sure.
We were in a space where we built a lot of luxury homes initially, and we moved into a space where we took some of that luxury feel and are now
Sure.
focused on a first time home buyer, or even like a first mover upper. So what you get when you come
Yep.
to a Meritage Homes is like an upgraded feel to just like a first time home buyer home, right? And so we're doing things
Yeah.
that you can't see during, unless you're going through during the construction phase, but putting spray foam insulation in your walls, focusing
Oh,
on
dude,
energy efficiency, right?
I noticed that spray foam. That's huge compared to the other standard
It's
insulation. That
huge.
all your
It's
homes
huge.
have that foam in there. Keeps it super cool
Yep.
up on the top in the attic space, which was nice because you pull down the ladder and it says this is not meant for storage, and you go up there and you see that whole room
Yep.
on the top there. On the mechanical room that's up
Your attic
top,
is
the foam
essentially
insulation.
temperature controlled.
Yeah, and you know how you usually go up in an attic and it's blazing hot. Not in there.
Oh yeah,
Lower, you
you
go
won't
up on the
feel that.
top. It's nice and cool up in the top. Nice and cool. And then you see all the
Yep.
foam. Are you guys like basically the only ones that are doing that foam, or you guys are one of the few? And why foam over this the standard insulation?
I haven't seen another builder in our price range. When you start getting into like spray foam, you start getting into more of a luxury custom type feel. I don't know any of our competitors that are doing spray foam, but
Sure.
man, I think we're really into it because again, the energy efficiency aspect of a Meritage home, we want it to stand out as something that's a little bit more quality. We're spending an extra, 15 to $20,000, if not more, on just building
Yeah.
a home that is the same price range, same square footage, but what you're getting in your home is so much more, right? Like an indoor air plus certification, just like um the blinds are coming in the home, all appliances are included, so when you can't really compare like you talked about, the garage is finished, right? You got a
Yeah.
multi-speed
Huge.
HVAC, so I mean, it's so many aspects of the home, and you got to walk it. You got 9 feet ceilings, downstairs, so
Yeah.
you never walk
Yeah.
in and feel like you got to duck or feel crammed in and whatnot. So man, I think that to me ultimately that's what sets us apart, is that we build with such good quality, and we're also priced in similar price points as some of our competitors. And I think that's what really makes us unique and really stand out in the industry.
All right, guys. So, sorry that we just had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but, Rashaud's back. He was on his phone and he just kind of made adjustments, and we're back, and you didn't miss too much anyway. So let's go into the big questions now. So if we fall in love with the Dallas, what's next? So here's one question, so let's walk someone through the process. And if they fall in love with the Dallas floor plan today, what happens next?
So I kind of make the home buying process, I break it down into 4 easy steps, right?
Great.
So step number 1, just begin the search, right? Like just start. Like a lot of people just talk about, hey, I'm going to buy a house, and I'm just start, right? So that whether that means finding
Sure.
a real estate agent, getting contact, just start. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, get a pre-approval. Know where you can shop at. Like the last thing you want to do is go out and say, I'm interested in buying houses, and I just start going anywhere and
Right.
not really understanding what I can afford. So
Yeah.
get a number, right? Talk to a loan officer, talk to a lender, and understand like what your buying power is. Once you understand what your buying power is, now it's the fun part, right? Now we're home shopping.
Yeah.
We're bringing the family along if we're solo, whatever. But that's like
Sure.
that's those moments, man. There's a lot of power in the home buying process. But and then like I said, that's step number 3, kind of going through that process, finding a house, getting under contract. And step number 4 is like getting to the closing table and actually closing, right? And so
Yeah.
again, we make it super easy. So if you come in and you're looking at a Dallas floor plan, number 1
Sure.
thing, I'm gonna congratulate you because you started. Some people are talking about it at home and they haven't even taken a step into a model home. So like, I really encourage you, like, don't talk about, just even if you have no idea what you're doing, you're running to people that know what they're doing, and they'll give you good advice on how to move forward. And so that's step number 1. But secondly, we'll go find, we'll look for different houses and whatnot, and we'll see what is your buying power. And so with Meritage Homes, we do have an in-house lender. And so we make the process for understanding your buying power. So, I mean, you could come into me, and within the first 15 to 20 minutes, you understand exactly what you can afford in a real estate market. You know what I mean? And we make it that easy.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Rashaud, you mentioned that you guys have your own lender. So what if a client, someone walks in, they want a Dallas home, but they have their own lender. They have someone at Wells Fargo, their Bank of America, or whatever, a Navy Fed, if it's military, VA, they're moving in. What do you say if they have their own lender and they say, well, I have my lender?
Yep.
So versus, if they use their lender versus yours, what's the difference?
There's not a problem with that at all. You can come in and have your own lender. We won't stop you from using your lender. What I will say is, with the use of our lender, we just offer additional incentives, right? So you just kind of got to compare, right?
Which we'll cover at the end.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so you just got to compare and see like what works for you, right? Ultimately, this is your home buying process. Some people are like really loyal to the people that they're working with. I have no problem with that. Like, you use them, right? But I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't at least tell you what we offer with the use of our lender, because it could either increase your buying power. It could influence, your decision to buy today versus waiting until the rates drop. Maybe I'll tell you, we already have the rates drop, with our lender. So again, it's just my responsibility to tell you what we can do with our lender. And if you decide to use your lender still, that's not a problem. We have no problem with that.
Cool. So if you've made it this far in the video, obviously we mentioned about the good stuff at the end. Just hold tight. We'll get there, and he'll go over it. Just hold tight. But so if you made it this far, keep watching. So here's another question. Big one. So what's the timeline if they're looking to buy a Dallas from interest to get them? We've talked to lender, they're under contract with you. What's the timeline look like for the buyer?
I'll just speak on a quick personal experience, man. I'll use an example. I met someone who planned to rent. They came in because a realtor was like, just go check it out and make sure that you want to rent and not buy. That same day, they found out how much they were pre-approved for. They went under contract on that home, and they closed in 35 days. And so that's how fast this process can be.
Wow.
Is that everybody's situation? Sometimes, closings can take place, 45 days, but we really aim for a 30-day close and maybe 60-day max. And the good thing about that is, compared to other new construction, right? So a lot of times people think new construction, I have to wait 5 to 6 months until I'm able to move into my home or
whatever the case may be. But with Meritage, we focus on a 60-day move-in guarantee. So we
Tell me
focus on
about that.
if you contract on one of our homes, we're guaranteeing that you close within 60 days. So you have that guarantee. Or let me rephrase that. Let me not use the word close in 60 days, because sometimes people run into lend-in challenges that may prevent them from being able to close it. But we at least guarantee you that the home is going to be ready to close within 60 days of the time that you go under contract. And if for some reason our job is not fulfilled and we don't have it ready, we make you eligible to get reimbursed for funds that may have been incurred, for us not, upholding our end of the bargain. So that's something additional that buyers can at least feel with the comfort and peace of mind going into this thing, knowing that.
That's what I was saying. They get a peace of mind of that.
Yep.
They get an absolute peace of mind. So let me ask, deposits, or what's the next like financial step that are required early on in this process? Like, deposit, how much they have to put down? Like, what are they, usually we get that asked a lot, in North Carolina, due diligence and EMD. So, do you guys make that easy? It's just like a one-time, is it a certain amount per price? Like, how do you guys do that? How do you guys structure
it? Yeah, man. So we really like to focus on, I mean, it depends per community, right? Depends. Some of our communities that are a little bit more overpriced, or not, not use the word overpriced, but just a little more pricey, right? Versus some of them that are not as priced as high.
Stretches the budget a little bit.
Exactly. So sometimes we'll do like a $5,000 earnest money deposit. In other communities, we're doing like a $2,500 earnest money deposit. So it just depends. And I always let people know, do not let the decision between you buying a house today be on do I have $2,500 or not? If I ever run into a situation where you just don't have that, let's talk about it, right? Because essentially what it's doing is going towards your purchase anyway. So it's not like a fee you're paying us. The more you pay now, the less you pay later. But if for some instances where you can't pay a lot now and you just have to do all of it on the back end when you get ready for closing, let's talk about that. Let's see what works.
Okay. No, fair enough, man. I love it, because again, it's giving the buyer the peace of mind that they perceive that it's, and that's one thing I've noticed about in North Carolina, that these, like, when the market was a little bit more intense, right when I got here, the market started to kind of cool down, but it was still a bit of intensity and due diligence, and people were losing, homes because this person offered $50,000, and they're like, oh, I'm done. I'm not going to put that kind of money. I only have 2,500, 5,000, and it feels like it eliminates a little bit of that anxiety that people have moving here and buying homes. And then, like, again, this goes to this question. So the support, what kind of support does your sales team give someone who's nervous or unsure about buying?
Man, that's a good question. I think we offer that peace of mind because we're kind of selling on the emphasis of your home is move-in ready, right? And so it takes away a lot of the stress of, like, I got to come in and I got to paint and I got to do this. And like, you coming in with a brand new home, you have a warranties that come like with the home, like your HVAC and your plumbing and your electrical. These are all things that are covered for the first 2 years of you being there. A 10-year structural warranty. So that peace of mind and knowing, like, man, being a homeowner, it is a huge responsibility, right? You have a lot of things to start thinking about on the product that you own and no asset that you now own. But buying new construction nowadays, you get so many like warranties that, even you can put additional warranties on your appliances. And I think to me, it just provides that peace of mind. And I think that's the type of comfort that we're able to offer, even if, if you're scared of kind of moving forward. Our lender can do just a soft pull. And so, there's nothing that's going to show up in your credit, but at least give you insight as to like what buying looks like for you. Cause some people won't offer that. They'll just want to do a hard pull on you. And you don't even know
exactly
about
so
this.
You're talking about a lender in the situation that can buyers, like, when the process, can they lock in that rate? Because, sometimes, that's a question that's always asked. And, can we lock in the rate? Or is there some sort of flexibility with that? Because, that's a common question we get with lenders. If the lender can, some clients are concerned about, locking that rate. Oh my God, I want to get that rate. Do you guys offer that? Your lenders are pretty good with that? Or is there flexibility?
It kind of goes into where we are as a company right now. And that's kind of guaranteed closings within 60 days. Or having their home ready within 60 days. So it's very easy for us to lock a rate whenever the buyer needs us to. So if you go under contract and you're like, look, I want to lock this rate, our lenders are able to kind of jump right on that, because it's not like the closing time should be extremely, extended. The home is ready. We have move-in ready inventory homes that are ready and waiting for homeowners.
Okay. No, fantastic. So we're gonna get into like kind of our next little segment, talking about exterior, interior, and like some of the highlights. I know
Okay.
you've covered some of it, but we'll just kind of touch base on it again. One question is, what are the most complimented features inside the Dallas floor plan when they walk inside?
The dining area.
That's the
The,
first thing. Yeah, that's the first thing
the,
when you
di- the
walk in.
dining
You see that it
Yeah,
pops.
because you just see the natural lighting that it offers, just the different things that you can do with that space. Is probably the number one thing. And then probably second to that is the kitchen. It's
Yeah,
nice,
the
it's
open
very
concept.
cool. You got the backsplash already done for you. All of the
Yeah,
appliances are stainless
yeah, the
steel,
little
do
honeycomb.
very well. Yeah, yep. And so you
Yeah,
got your standalone island with your kitchen sink, the tub style sink in there. It shows really well, man. It looks nice. It's clean.
yeah.
The paint colors. It goes well really amazingly.
Yeah, and what's the feedback on the open concept? Because a lot of people love open concepts, some people not so much, but I'm sure you guys get a lot of positive feedback on that.
We hear both, right? So I think what we've done is make sure that we stick to what is the most common buyer looking for, right? And you still have buyers that don't want an open floor concept, but the industry as a whole, like if you go in and you remodel an old house, what are they doing? They're knocking down walls. They're creating the open concept, and so we're building it from scratch. We're not going to add a whole bunch of extra walls for no good reason. So we do like to focus on
Right.
an open concept. The ones that don't like it, they find older homes, and there's something for everybody, right? But when you're coming
Absolutely.
to
There's always
Meritage
something for
Homes,
somebody.
you kind of know what you're getting, right? You know you're getting a quality built, energy efficient home, all appliances
Right.
included, as well as
Right.
blinds, where you're not going to come in and you've seen the price and it was one thing, and then when you got in, we're changing it because you wanted to add any, so it's extremely transparent, man. And I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of buyers. So at least if you want a starting place for looking for a home, stop into a Meritage Home model home.
Yeah.
It's a great start. It'll give you, some insight and some different floor plans that are available. That way you can narrow down, whether you
Yeah.
need 1,600 square feet or maybe you need 2,000 square feet. It helps you get that level of
Absolutely.
comfort. And then, I mean, if you're like, hey, look, I'm not sure if I want to buy with you guys or not, but can the lender at least give me a pre-approval? Can you look at my stuff? Can I fill out this application for the first 15, 20 minutes and at least get a
Hmm.
number? It's a soft pull. Why not?
No, absolutely. And you're talking about the floor plan, and I know, like, when I walked in, you walk to the door, you walk in, and then you see this grand, like, open area. I mean,
Mm,
that caught me instantly. And the finishes, and I was very impressed with the finishes that you guys offered in the Dallas floor plan. So that it do all, and here's going to be a question, not just the Dallas, because I know you have the linen, you have some other models out there.
mhm.
Is this the standard for all of Meritage Homes? Like every one of their models has that kind of finish, you know, when they walk in, because there's some other companies that do these like express ones that they build them and they don't have the
Mhm.
crown molding, and it's just not as it doesn't pop, right? They don't have the finishes that this particular home has. So do all of yours come like that, or is this is just the Dallas being one of them, and there's some others that are not as upgraded as this, or they're all like that?
They are all like that. So, you're just differentiating between the size of the home, but our standard is
Yeah.
our standard. And we won't go away from that, whether you're buying, a 1,500 square foot home or a 1,400 square foot townhome, or if you're buying, a 3,000 square feet single family home, with the basement or whatnot, like the level
Hmm.
of, awareness that we're putting into the homes and just the quality, um, just everything that goes into building a Meritage Homes, you will see that standard as you go up and down our pipeline of homes.
And here's a question that, because people always want to ask, tell us, a little bit about how the home handles storage and functionality for some of these smaller footprints. And I noticed there's a lot of space in there. And obviously the attic is mechanical up there. So some people might, wish they had the space on the top, but throughout the entire, rest of the floor plan, I mean, it's pretty spacious. And what have you been your feedback on the space?
I don't get a lot of pushback on storage because we are well designed. Like if you look at the pantry space, right?
Yes.
I kind of joke around with buyers all the time because our pantry now we're holding, I mean, at least 40 like 24 packs of waters, and they're just like stacked in there. And I'm not using any shelf, just like floor space. And
Yeah.
I'm like, just in case you're wondering, you could fit like 40 cases of water in this pantry space, right? We
Sure.
also have like a downstairs storage space or a coat closet, the garage, as you stated. It's finished, right? So you don't have to worry about going in and it's it doesn't give you that feel. It's nice, it's clean, it's already painted. And then even upstairs in the hallway areas where you need maybe a space for your linens. We got a space in your master or
I
I
saw
shouldn't say
that.
master,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
primary, right? In
The
your primary,
primary. Yeah.
we try to be thoughtfully planned out when it comes to just having that storage space that a buyer typically would need.
Sure. And I noticed going upstairs in this floor plan, the laundry, and how it was designed, um, being upstairs. And so let me ask you, because I saw the laundry machine, the washer dryer. So that design of having it upstairs by all the bedrooms, I mean, why does that matter? Besides obviously just the given it's by the bedrooms. So
Mhm.
why upstairs and not downstairs is more of the
We
question.
we I think when you start talking about
Besides the
energy
obvious.
efficiency being like
Sure.
technology forward, if you will, I think it also plays into trying to build an experience for a buyer that is comfortable. And so
Hmm.
anywhere you see our washer and dryer is going to be somewhere close to where the owner is sleeping. We found that being able to do your laundry on the same floor that your bedroom is in, that you're constantly at, has been one of the most convenient things. So, I mean, we got some floor plans where you walk from your closet, there's an extra door where you go directly to your laundry room. And that, like, it sets the bar, right? So you're in your closet, you go right to your laundry room from the closet, you close that door, you walk back to your bathroom. And it's like the convenience is really where we like to focus on, like a buyer that
Yeah.
I kind of joke around, and I kid you not, but I ask some buyers and I'm like, do you have an iPhone or an Android? And most times when I get like I got an iPhone, and it's like, would you go with it? Would you ever buy an Android? And so most iPhone people have
I know.
experienced something.
I wouldn't.
Do you
I
see what I
like the
mean?
iPhones. Yeah.
It's like you
I
found
wouldn't.
something that's so simplistic. It works well. You're controlling your temperature off from your phone. You're controlling your security. You got your control panels. Your home doesn't get hot in certain spots. And it's like the comfortability that we focus on. It puts you in a place where it's like when you're done with your first Meritage home, you feel like I want to buy another Meritage home because that
Sure.
the way that the home is built and designed and how it functions, it kind of spoils a client and it's really built upon convenience and comfort.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I noticed how like the functionality of the floor plan itself, the Dallas. And then, you're talking about making things easy and accessible and, using technology. And then let's talk about the garage real quick. I mean, we mentioned about the 220 and
Mhm.
everything, but let's, through the garage, it's a pretty simple garage. I mean, it's hooked up, ready to go for people that want to eventually do a 220 amp and hardwire that. But then let's go on the outside. I'm gonna skip to the outside because I noticed when we were on the outside, we saw some cool little um, features. Like you guys have, tell me about this whole like with a termite, like for people that have like, if pest control needs to do something in the homes, they got this little access port, which is super neat. So tell me about that. And tell me what those little, I don't know if they were for the plumbers or for the fumigation or whatever those were, like right next to that little box on the side of the house.
I wonder what other box you're talking about. I'll talk about the like the termite bonds in the traps, right? So those are built
Yeah.
around the home,
Yes.
right? And so what it does is
Yes.
it's built it's built in so that there's already like a line going behind your walls. And what if you got termites, I mean, they're coming from behind the walls before they get to places that you can see them. And so
Yeah.
we have the capability for the termite companies to kind of come in and shoot some spray in each one of these traps. And that stuff protects the perimeter of your home as well as all behind your
Yeah,
walls.
it's like easy access for them to do what they gotta do,
Yeah.
and everybody out there watching, I'll tell you what, like termites, I haven't really seen a big termite
I
issue
haven't seen
in
it.
North
Yeah, I haven't
Carolina.
either. Mhm.
So if you're living in California, you know we got termites because we fumigate we fumigate these houses. We put these giant balloons over them before you close escrow. You got these huge balloons because you got to get them fumigated. You know, here I didn't notice that there's nothing like that here. So I go, I don't think they have a bunch of a termite.
We
Uh,
don't.
not where we're at, unless comment out there if you're watching this and you have, if you beg to differ, say no, I have a huge infestation. I've had to deal with termites. Let me know because I haven't seen them. I haven't seen that as a big problem out in the Charlotte, metro area, other way to Hickory. I haven't really noticed it. So, but I know, but then I noticed, like I said, your houses have these those little ports for them to do that. So I guess you never know.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
it's nice
it's
up for
better to
that.
have your house prepared to be able to treat it if it ever does occur. But just knowing that, you should be in a good area where you shouldn't really deal with that.
Yeah, and there is, I asked the question, is there anything else for our viewers out there? Anything else that we've missed? Like what you guys inside, outside, what you guys have to offer a minute? Like what else did we miss anything? Or we got,
It's a radon
I think
pipe.
we got everything unless I missed something.
I think that covers most of what we. There's honestly a lot more. As far as like like a passive radon pipe, we use like for people that deal with allergies,
Ah,
right?
yeah.
The fact that we use like this indoor air plus MERV 13 air filter, right? So the filter is literally capturing 99.9% of like bacteria, pollen, um, like um, like pet hairs and things like that. So the air in your home is so clean. The way that the
Wow,
system
yeah.
is in the attic,
Is,
I mean,
is
it,
that
it does
is that
wonders.
that one device that you pull off and there's like multiple little uh filters in it? Is that one that you take off this
That's
little
that one
pen?
that's in the attic.
Yeah, in the attic.
Yep, that's right. Yep, yep. So it's like it's
Ah,
really what it is like a fresh air management system, and it's built to it kicks out air and it also only brings in clean air into the home, and it does wonders, especially for people that deal with allergies. If you're in North Carolina, you may not deal with
sure.
termites, but you deal with some pollen, and it's very visible. So
The
most
pollen,
the pollen
yes.
is terrible.
Yeah. And how often does this new homeowner have to change that out?
Not very often at all. I think I always encourage people, change it out a couple, maybe twice in that first year, just because you're
Sure.
doing a lot of moving in and whatnot. But after that, I mean, you're looking at maybe once every year. Be the amount that you need to change that air filter.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's what I was wondering what that was. Just kind of messing upstairs and seeing that all these multiple I mean that attic, man, it is wired up there. You got a lot of cool stuff going up there.
Yeah.
That's what I noticed, all the mechanicals and all the little systems and just kind of exploring. And then we're just kind of gonna get back into our last segment that people, want to know. Like, what does life look like? Inside a Meritage home over here in Conover or Hickory, Conover, what is the kind of lifestyle the Dallas floor plan or a Meritage home create for someone, that is now a homeowner there
I mean, so we do offer a playground in the community, and that
in
playground
the
is
Walnut
not
Reserve? Yeah.
in
Yep.
Walnut Reserve. It's not just for
Yep.
kids. So if you notice, we have extra benches around the playground that kind of and make this circle pathway. But and
Yeah.
that thing does wonders for nights when you just want to bring the kids to the park and the parents need to just sit down and just kind of relax and maybe even network and meet one another like an ice cream social style of thing. But it goes around in a circle and it creates just a more of a community versus like, hey, I just bought a home here and I know nobody, right? Just being able to,
Yes. Right.
you got kids or not, whether you got pets, but like it puts a meeting place for people to be able to kind of network and meet each other.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And that being said, now we're getting to the kind of the good stuff. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there to the good stuff. But let's talk about Walnut Reserve, the amenities. So besides the playground, what else do you guys have to offer in this particular development of Walnut
Yeah,
Reserve?
so that's going to be the main amenity. Outside of that, you won't get any other thing outside of the HOA making sure that they're making sure your front yard, the front sign, like the entrance sign, is always
The
nice,
one,
it's maintained, right?
right.
The pine needles kind of going throughout the community that keep it nice and landscape. The common areas also always being maintenance. You got sidewalks going throughout the community. So if you are someone that likes to walk or do walks and whatnot, you have a nice sidewalk to kind of utilize the street lights throughout the community. So again, things that sometimes we kind of take for granted. But again, those are what Walnut Reserve would at least offer. Some of our communities offer more or less, and we get all the way up into, swimming pools and cabanas and all those good things. But Walnut Reserve identifies a spot that, we felt the need to go the entire, go with the whole thing, but something more nice and intimate.
Okay. So, Walnut Reserve, in Conover, Hickory area. So since you've been there and working it, so what do most people love about it? What has been the feedback for some of the ones that you've sold in there? What's been like, what do they like about it? And what's nearby?
So the first thing I would say, as far as what people like about it, is the quality of the homes.
Sure.
Hands down, whether they like the area or whether they don't like the area, whether, like, all things considered, it's like, number one, I come here, at least I love the quality of this home.
Yes.
Number two, in Walnut Reserve specifically, it is a very convenient location. So I guess technically it's located in Conover, but it's like right on the line of Hickory. So
it's like on the line, man.
Yeah, it has on the line right there. So utilities are provided by, the city of Hickory,
sure,
trash and all those good things. You're going to the Hickory school, so St. Stephen's,
yep,
elementary, and then our middle, St. Stephen's High School.
Sure.
But we're also very conveniently located to, is that McDonald Parkway?
McDonald Parkway.
McDonald Parkway right there, where you got your Walmart, you got, your Arby's, your Sheets. Like, it's civilization. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Coming from Concord, trying to learn the area, but it's a lot. Like, I never feel like I gotta drive a long distance to get just basic life essentials.
No, man. And that's one of the things. And like I said, our viewers will see that. They're going to see that here in a minute. But, that's one thing that I noticed being there. And I wanted to see where it was located, being in from Hickory. So the nice thing on McDonald Parkway goes right on down into Highway 70. So Highway 70 has got, like you were talking about, the Walmart. You got you got that Culver's fast food. You got Ross. You got Target, Best Buy. You have Olive Garden. You have every amenity that you need, from shopping to food to places to to dine in, for groceries. It's all about 5 minutes away. Yeah. So the beautiful thing is, 5 to 7 minutes, you're around everything. There's, once you hit 70, you got everything you need. There's parts of Hickory, it's on 127 on the other side, but really, if you're just on McDonald Park, we just go down 70, you hit everything, all the main stuff. You got a Sam's Club. So some people like to shop at Sam's. You got Buffalo Wild Wings. You got all kinds of stuff all around the area. Taco Bell. You got Cookie Crumbles. You got Barnes and Noble, like it's right there. But for all you veterans that are looking and that are interested in this, looking for new construction, and then you want to buy something out out here, and the price point is there. The VA, the medical, clinic is right down the street.
It is.
You get right to the VA clinic in about 2 to 3 minutes. And that's the other thing. On Tate Boulevard is probably 2-3 minutes away. And Tate Boulevard has a lot of the clinics. You got one of the other hospitals on that end, and you got most of all your clinics. So I think strategically, it's in a really, really good spot.
We even get to all parts of Hickory from Valley Hills Mall, right? So I mean,
the Valley Hills Mall. If you're, like I said, all major shopping, all everything, and not to mention Highway 40. Highway 40, you go down McDonald Parkway, you hit 40, you're on the highway. If you're going to go to Statesville, you're going to go down to Morganton, or you're going to go back to Charlotte and you hit 77 or you go off to 16 to get into Charlotte. It's pretty well located. And I think maybe that was part of the, the builder, your guys' thought process on strategically putting it out there. So I can say that about where it's located and, that you've been there. So tell me about that vibe. What's the neighborhood vibe since you've been there, and people have been, what's been the vibe of everybody there in this Walnut Reserve? Like, how you feeling, how your clients that you've sold, what are they telling you?
I think everybody from what I see, people really enjoy just how friendly the neighborhood is. So like, it's one of those neighborhoods when like a new person moves in, people are willing to like bring cookies or something to their front door and like welcome into the community, because that's what essentially what we're doing, right? So we're building 170 plus homes in this, in this subdivision. I mean, we've
Yes.
only built, the first, I think we may be on like the first 40 or so. So we
Yes.
have a ways to go. And so as more and more people move into the community, what I notice is that there's some sense of a community that's developing in the Walnut Reserve area.
Yes. 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 Um, and I noticed also, um, the vibe. So what kind of, since you've been there, what are the families? So like what kind of, who's the audience? Who's been moving in? Are we talking about retirees, new families? Who's been the mostly that you've seen that's purchased, in Walnut Reserve, or is it a mix? Like what have you seen?
I would say a mix. I say a mix of everybody, man. You got, relocation people, you got people that are already in the area, you got people that are coming up from Charlotte. So it's a pretty good mix of just what it's designed for, right? It is a neighborhood where we don't want the price point to be extremely high, but we're still giving you high value in a home. And so you're kind of built and surrounding yourself with neighbors that kind of, want the same things as you as far as, large purchases or a home goes.
Sure. Sure.
Mhm.
I mean, you just basically summed it up, for anybody moving there. This is kind of all, that nice little summary at the end. So, but now that we've got everybody and if we still got you on the video and you're
Yeah.
still watching till now and you're waiting for this part, now we're going to talk about the good stuff and then we'll leave it at that. So let's get into the good. What have people been waiting for? So tell me about the Dallas floor plan. Tell me the price. Tell me incentives. Give me the lowdown on those rates. I want it all. They want it all. They've been waiting for it. So let's get to the good stuff.
Man, so the Dallas floor plan, it comes in at an amazing price of 334,000. When I say that, I say it with, I mean, absolute like joy, right? Because of the additional incentives that also come along with that. And I'll even break that down into what monthly payments, and I'll do estimated. I'm not a licensed loan officer, but I have some really good tools that get you really close to where your monthly
Sure.
payment should be
Because
at.
obviously credit, it's just depending on credit, and credit, everything differs depending on their scores.
That's right.
Yeah. So let me ask you, because you got the price where it's at. Is price negotiable? Because people always want to know. Look, we're out. People obviously, we want to keep it, because some people have this perception. Oh, that's the price.
Yeah.
That's set in stone. Is it set in stone? Can we negotiate? If I brought someone, because I'm pretty good at trying to negotiate it here and there. And, as we know, that's our job. But for someone looking new construction, is it negotiable? Can you work with someone?
I kind of lean on the stance of you're in real estate, everything's negotiable. Now, how
Okay.
much, a buyer or seller is willing to go, just depending on the deal, right? So I may,
Because every deal's different.
every deal is different, right? So I may have already reduced the price on a particular home. So by the time you come and look at it, I've already dropped my price by $30,000, $40,000. So when you ask me on that property, hey, can we get a deal on it? I may be already tapped out, or maybe I have just a small amount of
Sure.
versus
Yeah.
something I just put fresh on the market, where I got a little bit more flexibility. You come to me and
Yeah.
You want a better deal on that one. Maybe I have the room to do that. So I think every deal is different. We do try to price our homes according to the market, and I think we do a really good job
Okay.
with that. So a lot of times
I
when we
agree.
do, you know what I mean? Like we go into deals knowing that like the price, it is what we expect. But if just bring us an offer and see what we can do with it. And my management does a really good job of that.
Yeah. Fantastic. So like I said, kind of give me some scenarios. What are we looking at? Give the incentives.
So along with the price at that 334 price point on the Dallas floor
Okay.
plan, you're
Okay.
also getting a 4.99 interest rate, compared to what's on the market
Wow.
rate right now, which is at a 7%. The
7, 6 and
4.99,
a quarter.
six
Yeah.
and a quarter, right? So it just depends if you're going
650. It
FHA
just
or
depends.
conventional. Yep. And so
And you do
that's
VA. You do VA
we can do
loans.
VA. We can do VA.
Love it.
Walnut
For all
Reserve
my
is
VA
also
guys.
eligible for USDA. And so
Oh, really?
you got a couple 100% financing options out in Walnut
Wow.
Reserve. Additionally, on top of the 4.99, we also have an additional $15,000 that goes towards your closing cost. This is
Oof.
huge because it
That's
gives you
big.
some flexibility to use
That's fantastic.
money on top of an already brought down interest rate. So some people go in this
Yeah.
direction, and this is probably the most phenomenal deal that I've been seeing, Adriano. what people will purchase is what's called a 2-1 buy down. So you just look at it and say, look, Meritage Homes is giving me a 4.99 interest rate. That's where my rate starts. The
Yes.
2-1 buy down, I mean, you may pay around $8,000, $9,000 to get it, but you got $15,000 that we've given you to use. So you take some of that $15,000, you buy this 2-1 buy down. What that does is get you at a first year. For your first year of your payments, you're at a 2.99 interest rate. For the second year of your payments, you're at a 3.99 interest rate, right? And then years 3 through 30, now you're back at the 4.99%, which is still below market. And so just for kicks and giggles, in estimates, what that looks like in a monthly payment side of things is if you were doing say you were doing a 5% down payment, I just kind of use that one, conventional 5% down payment.
Yeah.
Year one, you're around $1,700, right? Now we already below the $2,000 mark that I said that 2,000 number is a real trigger in this market. Like, am I above or below 2,000? That puts you below 2,000 for the first year. It also puts you below 2,000 for the second year. Second year, about $1,900, right? And then that third through 30 year, you're kind of plateauing out right around $2,100. But that gives you time to kind of work into it, learn what home ownership is like, and whatnot. But again,
it helps them get on their feet. So the payment will be lower, and obviously it'll gradually go up over time. And hopefully by then they've got a handle on it. They've gotten, hopefully, they've made more money. They've put some in the bank. So it kind of helps them out. So how many of your clients that you've sold have taken advantage of that?
Quite a few. To be honest, I'll get some that's like, I don't want the 2-1 buy down. I want to pay my HOAs up for the first 2 years. Or
which is HOA is, what is the HOA in Walnut Reserve?
$70 a month.
How much?
$70.
That's it?
Yep.
A month or a year? That's 70 a month.
Yep. 70 a month. So that is an additional expense that's not included in your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So some people are like, look, let's kind of get rid of that, right? Let's pay for 2 years of that, and your typical closing cost, which come with pretty much every loan that you originate. Use the rest of my money to maybe pay all my closing costs up, and I could buy my rate. Say I got a 4.99 rate, and I'm like, I don't really need a 2.99. What if I just buy that rate down from a 4.99 to a 4.5, and I just leave it there? That way, my monthly payments for the life of my loan are $1,900 or not. You know what I mean? Right. So you can go more of a fixed route versus gradually going up. But that $15,000, it does allow you to have some flexibility to have a conversation with the loan officer to figure out what's the best route and best loan program for you to go with.
Sure. And if you find absolute value, hit like and subscribe, on the channel. And also, if you think this is a great deal, comment below. If this is something you want to take advantage, just comment below and say, hey, look, I'm interested, because again, we have obviously there's this one that we have here in Hickory, but there's other different ones. If you're moving to the Charlotte area, the Mooresville, we have other locations that we can show and sell. But that is phenomenal. Like I said, if you guys out there, like if this is something you've seen or getting somewhere else, let me know. Let us know if there's any other builder offering that, because people like to know it. So there's
great, man. You start, year one, 2.99%, dude.
Yeah. That's crazy. And I think it's like to help families, especially our new families that are looking for first time buyers that's looking for something like, hey, this helps us because we know over time we're going to, work and get paid more and get a raise. So I think that builders and people that do something like that and lenders, they count on that. They count on them, things get better for families, and not to mention the equity, over time that's built up just to get you in home ownership. And that's fantastic. So we talked about the rate, we talked about incentives, and obviously, you can talk about washer, dryer, refrigerator. You're getting all the appliances thrown in there.
It's what doorbell. You're getting door sensors. You'll get the control panel that goes, front door open, back door open. Like it's truly a move-in ready, energy efficient, technology savvy, smart home.
Yes,
that's the best way to put it. And it's an all-in price. We typically come with some really good incentives, and it can change throughout the course of a month or a week or whatnot. So you like whenever you get to a Meritage Homes to see what the current incentives are, And please do know that like they're usually really good. Try to take advantage of them if you can.
So, Rashaud, last thing that we're gonna, I want to cover. So with incentives, do you guys have promotions? Does this change? Does does Meritage Homes do that? Sometimes right now that's what you currently have, 4.9. But do they throw promotions? Do they do other things that really incentivize, our consumers out there, buyers, and our viewers? Do you guys do different things? Sometimes does it change?
We try an array of different things. So I mean, you can see, we can max out on incentives or kind of go that route, or maybe we play around with the price a little bit, but we'll find whatever strategy works, because it's the real estate market is ever changing. Interest rates change
All the
every
time.
minute
All the
or
time.
two,
Every day.
right? And so we're forever changing and evolving with the market. But while rates are high, what the main goal right now is affordability, and so that's something that we really focus on, and making sure that we're able to deliver and offer something that a buyer can see, that they look at as something that's affordable compared to what they would get if they were to buy maybe a resale or with a different builder or whatever the case is. But we do like to focus on whatever the market needs us to focus on in that moment. So incentives can change as the market changes, to answer your question.
I love it. I love it. Rashaud, I thank you for answering these questions, and bringing value to all our viewers and people out there thinking about buying a Meritage home and thinking about going your direction. I'm glad that we covered this on the Dallas floor plan, because we're going to have other floor plans that we're going to talk about, and you guys will get to see more. And comment below if there's a different floor plan that you're interested in and we haven't talked about it. We will make a video and we'll get it done, because Rashaud, we can go over everything. And not to mention, also, if there's a location you want us to do, we will do it. And then I want you guys, on our next videos that you're going to see coming out, we're going to talk about different floor plans and communities that Meritage Home, they offer. And a nice, beautiful bonus that we're going to add, if you stayed all the way to the end, make sure you go on the comment section and our links below, because I'm going to attach a Matterport virtual tour that you can virtually tour this entire floor plan from top to bottom into the garage. So if you're thinking about it and you're somewhere, you can access the floor plan, the actual, the Dallas floor plan, and walk through it. And we've also tagged it. We got little information points so you can kind of see some stuff that Rashaud covered. It's going to be repeated in case you missed it, you forgot. We're going to, it's going to be in there. So make sure you go down and view the floor plan. We got it. It's going to be in the link below. So that was a cool little bonus that we wanted, that I added on that, because you had all the good stuff. And I just wanted to throw that in there. And a big thank you to Rashaud McCray and the team at Meritage Homes for taking the time to walk us through everything buyers need to know. Whether you're dreaming about your very first home or planning to downsize without compromise, the Dallas floor plan might be the one for you. And if you're loving these deep dive interviews, don't forget, this is just the beginning. And don't forget about our virtual tour, also in the description. Subscribe for weekly episodes, neighborhood tours, and honest conversations to help you make your move with confidence. I'm Adriano, and I'm here to help you navigate every step of your journey.